Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off with the Bataan Death March and the awful tragedy that was. We're now going on to Britain's offer to India rejected. April 11th, 1942. Indian negotiations fail. Charged with a special mission to present... my bad, sorry, my voice is giving out on me today. Present the Britain's government... to present the British government's plan to solve India's constitutional problems. Sir Stafford Cripps had arrived in New Delhi on March 23rd. In the Prime Minister's words, Sir Stafford did everything in human power to ensure a successful conclusion to the negotiations. But the Congress of India rejected Great Britain's proposal for a settlement. England's firm promise of India independence included a self-elected government for India after the war. But Congress made an uncompromising last-minute demand for the setting up a national government at once. Sir Stafford Cripps pointed out to Dr. Azad, the Congress president, that this demand implied absolute dictatorship of the majority and would break all pledges Britain had given to the great minorities of India. Above, Sir Stafford Cripps talks to some... here we are right here. Sir Stafford Cripps talks to some of the Sikh leaders during his visit. Below, Gandhi, in foreground, and Pandit Nehru, between pillars, at a meeting. So, if my phone, there we go. There's Mahatma Gandhi. And I believe this is supposed to be Pandit Nehru. Interesting to see this picture. Yeah, obviously India would want certain things, but the British government doesn't necessarily want them to have those certain things, but they wanted other certain things. It's a whole mess, and it'll get all figured out after the war, and India will get its independence. Pro-German government formed in Vichy, April 14th, 1942. Laval comes back to power. On April 14th, Berlin and Vichy announced that Laval would return to office and that Marshal Pétain had decided to reconstitute the Vichy cabinet on a new basis. The reorganization was forced upon Pétain by Funny Mustache Man, who, it was said, used French prisoners of war in Germany and threats to starve the French people as bargaining weapons. With pro-German head in Vichy, Funny Mustache Man doubtlessly hoped to obtain the services of French workers for essential war work in German factories, and even to obtain the use of the French fleet, which had been disarmed under the armistice terms. The new cabinet, in which Laval had held the post of chief government and ministries of foreign affairs, the interior, and information, was formed on the 17th. Pétain retained the normal title of Chief of State. Laval's appointment led to disturbances in Paris and northern France, and on the 16th, 35 German soldiers were killed in a troop train that was derailed near Caen. The picture above, doubtless a piece of German propaganda to prove the success of the new arrangement, allows French volunteers in German uniforms leaving Versailles for service on the Russian front. On the left, Marshal Pétain and Laval are seen together shortly after the new government was formed. Yeah, France, it's just basically showing France was never really its own country after they lost. It was always kind of a puppet to the Germans. And And, you know, in your Patton and stuff like that, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because, on one, you don't want to give in to these demands, but on two, you know, he doesn't want the French people to suffer because of Funny Mustache Man's what he said he would do. So you're stuck between this rock and a hard place, and it's just... there's no good way to win this. Off we go! Destination, Tokyo. Is that really what... that says Tokyo, wow, yeah. April 18th, 1942. Shangri-La is born. In April 1942, the United States and the world at large was absolutely electrified by an announced by President Roosevelt that American flyers had carried out the Battle of the Pacific to the heart of the Japanese Empire with a surprising and daring raid on military targets at Tokyo. I don't think that's how Tokyo is pronounced or spelled, but maybe it is. Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka, Kobe, it's probably pronounced, and other rising sun industrial centers. The dangerous mission was held by Lieutenant General James H. Doolittle, and in the picture above, here we go. One of the planes is seen soaring, which is right, I believe, here. One of the planes is seen... oh boy. Is seen soaring off the flight deck of USS Hornet en route to Japanese territory. Taking off in the middle of the day, flying at low altitude, the squadron of American planes, led by General Doolittle and accompanied by 79 other aviators, raided the mainland. In the Navy Yard, south of Tokyo, a new cruiser and battleship under construction was bombed and left in flames. Along the coastline, said General Doolittle on May 19th at Washington, when he was decorated by the President and the story of the raid was revealed. We observed several squadrons of destroyers and some cruisers and battleships. About 25 miles to the sea, the rear gunners reported seeing columns of smoke rising thousands of feet in the air. One of the bombardiers strewed incendiary bombs along a quarter of a mile of aircraft factory near Nagoya. Another illuminated a tank farm. However, flying at such low altitudes made it very difficult to observe the result following the impact of the bombs. We could see the strike, but our field's vision was greatly restricted by the speed. Oh, that's weird. There's a part 2. To Tokyo from a friend, April 18th, 1942. But here's a plane, and the low altitude at which, here, I'll show you this one, at which we were flying. Even so, no one on our party observed a ball game in progress. The players and spectators did not start their run for cover until just as the field passed out of sight. Pilots, bombardiers, and all other members of the crew performed their duties with great calmness and remarkable precision. It appeared to us that practically every bomb reached the target for which it was intended. We would like to have tarried and watched the later developments of fire and explosion, but even so, we were fortunate to receive a fairly detailed report from the excited Japanese radio broadcasts. It took them several hours to calm down the deception and accusation. He added that he had issued instructions that the Imperial Palace in Tokyo was not to be bombed. In the picture above, General Doolittle is shown wiring a Japanese medal to the fin of a 500-pound bomb, which shortly thereafter was returned to its Nipponese makers in a blast of destruction. The ceremony took place on the deck of the carrier Hornet, from which the raiders took off. That was a lot of reading, but yeah, this is a pretty famous raid, obviously, now. And yeah, they fly and they keep flying. They go over into China, and that's where they are eventually are. They drop down, get safe with the Chinese, and then get back into like America eventually. Yeah, and the Japanese are completely caught off guard by this, which would make sense. I don't think anyone would expect how far these guys really flew out. I don't think they would expect that. And so it would lead to a big shock and awe. But hopefully not hopefully, but it seems to, looking back, they maybe didn't do as much damage as they thought they did or things like that. But they did do one thing, which was show the Japanese that the Americans would be back and we would be dropping more bombs on them because of this war. Which the civilians suffered horribly in this war because of that. Their wooden cities could not handle the fire bombings. They just couldn't. Most of their cities are reduced to rubble, and that's not even the ones that were dropped with the atomic bombs were dropped on. Just all of them because of the fire bombing. There's a few that didn't, that came out more or less unscathed, but yeah, most of them suffer huge destruction. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I can improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.